Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Alan Revises. I'm taking another swipe at The Golden Apple as a screenplay that I've written, and that it needs some work. I wrote it a number of years ago and I'm just getting back into it. It's kind of late where I am right now and I'm working at night, which is not my usual setting and pace, but I have to keep to a schedule. If you're going to be a professional writer of any sort, you need to actually be able to make your deadlines. Even if they're self-imposed deadlines, you need to make them. And if that means writing when you don't really feel like writing, well, welcome to being a professional. All right, here we go. When we left off, Bergen had he met the woman of his dreams, but her father is dying, and death is sort of hemming in hemming out the love interest that Bergen would like to be. So he's decided he's going to cure cancer. And he's studied and he's done stuff, and we've had a montage involving that. So here we go. As in pure movie tradition, he eventually comes up with something. So, walk up apartment a day. No. Exterior. It's an exterior of a walk-up apartment. It's during the day. Dr. Selig, a lab coat slung over one arm, hurries toward a waiting cab with the tick-tock pace of a man on a clock. Lab coat. That's not slung over one arm. Lab coat slung transparent dry cleaning bag over his back. All right. And we have a chance to say something about the lab coat. It's a much abused lab coat, which gives an idea that he's very much a working scientist. The lab coat is not just for show. Selig slips into the cab without looking over. Slips into the cab. Voice and slips into the cab. Bergen keeps the door from closing and joins him inside. What the hell? The foreign-born cab driver glances back at them. Is he bothering you, sir? To the driver. Driver's native tongue. We'll do a little wordplay there with the languages. Just a discussion. There's 100 in it for you if you just drive a few blocks. Look, is this medical? Look. Is this medical? Because I'm not a... It's a proposal. It's a proposal. Selig's eyes narrow. Business proposal. This is a callback to Bergen and Tony having their... anyway, so... Dr. Selig to the taxi driver. Go ahead and drive. The taxi lurches onto the street. Dr. Selig to Bergen. Who do you represent and why should I care? Electron transfer therapy. Selig raises an eyebrow. You published a paper called Radiation Results in Stage 2 Chondrosarcoma. You were very close to something there, and I recently had the pleasure to advance your work. Dr. Selig clears his throat. Go on. Proton therapy has always had problems. Properly calibrated, the radiation does not penetrate further than the tumor site, but the intervening tissue always takes the worst of it. This can lead to necrosis, or I know. That part is unavoidable, which in the end is all I discovered. Bergen then says, remember what I said about electrons? A static charge is induced through tissue at an amperage not so different from ordinary nerve impulses. At the tumor site, the charge intersects a strong forces field, which engenders particle decay. The resulting electron emission thereby attacks the cancerous cells point blank without traveling through healthy tissue. And Dr. Selig replies, sounds like science fiction. Bergen says the man who once worked with protons on a daily basis. Bergen retrieves a piece of paper from his pocket. As it unfolds. An intricate schematic is revealed. We do so love our reveals in screenplays. Alright. Do you want to take a look at this or remain obscure? Bergen says. Dr. Celtx, as his eyes fall on the map. That's my old... Bergen says, like I said, I advanced your work. When can we start? Interior, lab. Dr. Celtx pulls a dusty plastic cover off a layer of old lab equipment. The motes dance in the sun. Dr. Celtx, you understand, it will take months, if not years, to see this through. That is assuming we get funding. Bergen says, I can cobble together a prototype in a few days, and I'll take care of the initial costs. One condition, though. Dr. Celtx waits for the other shoe to drop. I've got a patient to put at the top of the list. Celtx says, that would be unethical. Poor doctors. Will I get a chance to suggest some things? Celtx says, I would, of course, ask for your input concerning clinical trials. Bergen says, then we have a deal. Begin montage inventing electron therapy. It's another montage. I'm not sure if we need this. We've already just had a montage, but whiteboard and computer. As first Bergen and then Celtx explain things to a bevy of lab assistants, then to doctors, and then finally well-heeled board members who nod eagerly. This is a short one. It's just a quick advancement. All right. And it seems like everything's going well for him. This is when we'll pull something here. Interior, smoky bar at night. Smoke wafts through a bar that is in the midst of a nosedive. Pool balls clatter and canned music plays as glasses clink. As specifically, shot glasses clink. Women who are all but poured into the dresses linger at the bar to watch as Bergen puts an entire rack of pool balls, one after the other, puts away. Works the billiards. Putting away an entire rack with blazing speed. Tony watches as Tony can only shake his head. He watches. Pool cue. And unused. Now, how do we say that it's unused? There's no way to say that it's unused. He sets aside the pool chalk rather than apply it to the tip of his idle pool cue. You know, this is more fun if I get to play. Sinks the triple combo. Bergen says, I can't help it. Celtx is going to start trials in less than a week. And Tony says, you and he are an amazing team. Bergen says, you want amazing? Watch this. Saw it in the movie Hot Shots. It's a movie reference. Bergen sinks the black 8-ball in a peculiar fashion that sends the white cue ball arcing back to him through the air, whereupon it maneuvers itself. Whereupon it drops neatly into his front pocket. Front pants pocket. Pants pocket. Madness. Beautiful, beautiful madness. A woman at one bar, a lady in red, watches Bergen with rising awe, gulps down a shot of whiskey, and strides over to him. Her fingers glide across the conspicuous cue ball-sized bulge in his pants before Bergen can blink twice. Lady in red, as she reaches into his pocket. Let me get that for you. That's not the, and that's not it either. Give me a minute. It's been a while. She replies. Bergen carefully shifts a hand to remove hers. Tony has to quiet a laugh before it becomes a bray. In the back of the bar, glass shatters. Voice from the back. Slut. Bofrost's quad as the lady's ex-boyfriend, swathed in furious misery, staggers over with a jagged length of broken glass in hand. It's a little abrupt. I turn my back for 1 minute and you're fouling someone's... The lady in red holds up a hand and reveals the white cue ball. Say it. Go and say it. We broke up over a week ago. Throws the cue ball. She throws the cue ball. I don't need to make this a separate Riley sort of thing. I got the tweet, I got the text. Bergen did not intercept that. Okay, I got the tweet. Ignores the cue ball. I got the tweet. The cue ball bounces off the ex-boyfriend's chest. The ex-boyfriend's chest. I got the tweet. Everyone got it. Now we're going to talk about it like real people. Bergen steps around to place himself in the way. Set down the glass. Screw you, the ex-boyfriend does. The ex-boyfriend swings. Bergen idly blocks, sends the remnants of the glass shiv flying neatly and set down the set it down, and okay. Now we can settle this amiably by getting hammered on the ex-boyfriend's cronies. A rough and tumble set of last decade's rejects push their way to the fore. The other one's getting hammered. Tony rolls his eyes, idly flips his pool cue to the ready. Bergen willing to interrupt? Is me? Hey, that's my line, the ex-boyfriend says. The ex-boyfriend takes a... did he take a... Wild swing that Bergen swats aside, then folds the ex over with a single Herculean blow. The cronies charge. Bergen backs away to keep the lady in red from danger, but she's already run out the back. One of the cronies leaps onto the pool table to get around on Bergen's flank. Tony shatters the pool cue against his head. The man drops. The pool table collapses beneath him. Chaos erupts all across the bar. Exterior, outside the bar, a bashed neon sign flickers above a blackened storefront. An English tourist from across the pond, from across the pond, listens intently to his cell phone as he walks back and forth in front of the dive bar entrance. Could be a smoker, but I can't tell with the pen and ink. Could be a smoker, but I can't tell with the pen and ink. That's slang. That's some pretty heavy slang. I know that's slang. I must have looked it up at some point. The front door shatters as Bergen plows through it. Tony helps... Hold on, it's a rub-a-dub. Cheers. The tourist hangs up and heads towards the busted door. cheese it down a little ways down. The pair pause to catch their breaths. The lady in red appears and grabs, pulling him in close. That was amazing. Heroic is the word you're looking for. She doesn't hear Tony. Instead kisses Bergen. Bergen pushes her away, gently. Sorry, I'm taken. Lady in red. By who? I have to have a good comeback. By who? I could do a Wonder Woman reference. That'd be funny. But I don't think that would work. By who? Lady Godiva? By who? Lady Godiva? There's actually 3 of them. Well, there's actually 3 of them, that lady. 2 Bergen. You don't know what you're missing. You know, I could fill him in afterward. And that's Tony's effort to get laid. Watch her get into... Tony, get in. Bergen. And it follows. Bergen walks away up here. Then rushes to catch up. That one part, that was amazing. I guess, remind me to send that bar a check. Cash. Send a courier with cash. You know, you could have at least put in a good word for me with Miss Red. She seemed willing. You've got a one-track mind. It's a pretty good track, Tony says. A phone chirps out a happy tune. Checks his pockets, comes out with a shattered remnants of a phone and heads... remnants of a phone. You bought your good phone to a crash bar? Really? Bergen glances at the shattered ID. It's Celtx. Activates the phone, raises it to ear. Hey Doc, what's the good news? What? Correct. With a phone. Screen has been recently cracked. Phone trips out a happy tune. Bergen checks his pockets, comes out with a phone whose busted screen dribbles fresh shattered plastic. That's because spider-webbed. It's Celtx, because we're now entering different territory. The spiderweb is a good motif. Alright. Hey Doc, what's the good news? He listens. What? I know what a staph infection is, but what does that have to do with... Listens. Oh no. Bergen hurries down pristine white corridors, follows the echo of sobs into the quiet of the critical care wing. Interior hospital room. Tubes infest what is left of Mr. Browning while monitors beep out a failing rendition of a once vital song. The bandage at the end of Browning's now missing arm and shoulder are wet and slick. His every breath is a struggle. Anne, eyes red and long cried out, waits by his side for the inevitable. Bergen fills the doorway, halts another shock at the terrible sight of it all. Only the monitors break the terrible silence. Okay. Bergen takes a breath and crosses the threshold. Bergen snatches a medical clipboard and does not look up. Bergen snatches a medical clip off the wall and frowns at what he finds. Takes a calming breath. Staph, antibiotics, swelling. Stirs on his deathbed, turns with unseeing eyes. Is that him? And at last flicks her gaze toward Bergen and stirs. Yes, Dad. It's the piano doctor. Bergen touches Anne's hand lightly to her. Go get something to eat. Mr. Hoffman can watch over me. Anne starts to protest. Please? For me? She says, for you. Stands, tidies her rumples, and heads for the door. She pauses beside her and looks up at him with unexpected ferocity. You will look after him until I get back. Understood? Bergen says, absolutely. She leaves. He reads. You had a staph infection. Staphylococcus aureus. The scourge of hospitals. They blitzed it with ampicillin and gemicillin combo, but not before it caused sepsis. My feet have already begun to rot. Normally they'd amputate, but... Mr. Browning gives a painful, half-phantom shrug of a shoulder. Okay, Mr. Browning, you are going to have to give me a little while to fix this. And I said something similar to my father when he was dying. I wanted him to give me more time. He could not. And so this is here too. Mr. Browning, I don't need the Riley there. Funny thing, Dr. Seelig contacted me recently. Said he had an experimental treatment. At first I thought it was some sort of placebo, but the man knew what he was talking about. I had hope until the staph hit. Takes a deep breath. My toes are on fire. An adjustment to your morphine drip should... Bergen, listen to me. It won't be long. I don't have much time, considers his words. But you do. Will you take care of my Anne when I'm gone? It won't come to that. Mr. Browning seizes Bergen's hand in an implacable grip, stares into his eyes with steely determination. We've already said, turns to look at Bergen. I can't. He's got to be able to see. So there we go. With an implacable grip, stares into his eyes with steely determination. She needs someone. But she's ready. Not before. Promise me. Promise. I will. Mr. Browning's eyes flutter closed. The monitors fall eerily silent. Not a sound can be heard. Mr. Browning is utterly still. Darkness fills the doorway. Implacable darkness, thank you. Bergen Snap turns, finds a mighty masked figure clad in cinematic black like a pillar of endless night, Hades, Lord of the Underworld. Bergen steadies himself. I don't need that. Yeah, let's just go with that. Hades takes an unbidden step across the threshold. Bergen, softly, no. Bergen steps between Hades and Mr. Browning. No. Bergen. Hades halts, tilts his head. His voice comes from the deepest caverns that have never seen the sun. from deep caverns. Caverns that have never seen the sun. Will you stand aside, Bergen Hoffman, and let Hades do his work? I promised. I heard. Not just to him, to her. She had to say goodbye. She has to say goodbye. 2 minutes. Just wait 2 minutes. Why? Hades asks. What reason could you give beyond the customary consolation of the grieved? Bergen says, Artemis said she'd make me a modern Hercules. If I recall correctly, Hercules once wrestled you in Phera while he was on his way to steal the mare of Diomedes. Hades gives a little nod. The man-eating mare of Diomedes. And yes, there he wrestled Thanatos, the progeny of Nyx and Erebus, night and darkness itself. All told, a minor god. Hades removes his mask, revealing devilishly handsome features that transform into a grid that could smug up L.A. You will have to earn your 2 minutes. Hades strips off the remainder of his midnight garb in one singular motion. In a singular motion. One singular motion is redundant. In a single one reveals a physique worthy of Olympus. Bergen clears his throat and it was up for a dreaded fight. Hades flicks his midnight garments into the air. Bright diamonds, sunset rubies, and brilliant sapphires and gorgeous emeralds pour from the folds to form a cloak that could give Elvis pause. Ooh, pretty. Why don't you come and come try and golf me up with that? Hades flicks a wrist, snaps his gem cloak against the wall, and carves it in twain. Ah, crap, says Bergen. Hades takes a swipe at Bergen, who dodges aside. The cloak comes round again, but Bergen darts in, hurls the Lord of the Underworld against a wall, which dutifully collapses. The two battle through the hospital, inflicting chaos and destruction that is through the seemingly abandoned hospital, inflicting chaos and destruction that is such chaos and destruction inflicting chaos and destruction. They'll have their blows are the only thing to break the eerie silence. Bruises, broken fingers, and gouges begin to gather upon Bergen. At last, and bloody gouges. At last, Bergen gains a solid grip on Hades, but the Lord of the Underworld becomes a formless shadow, slides out, and then reverses things, placing Bergen in a ruthless chokehold. Bergen burns red, then tints blue as he struggles. Bergen, Mr. Browning says, you can stop now. Bergen looks up from the headlock, finds Mr. Browning standing, whole but ghostly pale, just down the hall. Hades releases his grip. Bergen sucks in a greedy breath. Hades. Thomas Randolph Browning, are you prepared to travel to a place beyond pain? Mr. Browning says, I am. Mr. Browning steps forward, pauses before Bergen, to Bergen. Thank you. I said goodbye to my daughter, and you remember what we talked about? Bergen, I do. I will. Mr. Browning pats Bergen's shoulder, continues his walk to Hades' side. The Lord of the Underworld gently guides Mr. Browning off into an endless white. Mr. Browning, as they fade, you know, I didn't think I was a pagan. Hades, oh, you aren't. I merely asked your lord for this favor. They are nearly gone. Now then, no more worries, sir. Your heaven awaits. And then we're back in the hospital. The shrill lament of the monitoring machines rise up. Bergen blinks himself back to the here and now, finds himself seated beside a lifeless Mr. Browning. He flexes no longer broken fingers in surprise and then sorrow as he spies Anne across the bed. She clutches at her father's chest, weeps unstoppable tears. Bergen reaches over and gently closes Mr. Browning's, the departed's eyes. And there we'll have to leave it. That's our half hour. we're just getting into it. We are, it looks like about halfway through. So Mr. Browning has died and has been released, but is still in grief, obviously. That's where things are going to go. And of course, we're going to see how Bergen can screw things up, because if it ended now, it would be a rather short film and kind of anticlimactic. But we've had another transition. We've met another Greek deity. I'm not sure if I like the fact that it was all a dream sort of moment. But how else could it be otherwise? That's always been the quality we've been going for, where nothing really transitions beyond the scenes. And there we go. There we go. All right. This has been episode 4 of Alan Revises. I hope you've enjoyed this and found something interesting concerning writing and writing creatively. I hope you have a good day, and thank you.